Folks, thank you to start off. Thank you for purchasing the Christmas effect. I'm just going to dive right into the instructions on how this whole thing works. So once you unzipped the Christmas files, then you got all these folders and files here. So first up, we're going to load in the patterns and we're going to load in the actions. So to load in the patterns, you just double click on the patterns file. Super uneventful, but that's all you got to do for that. Action as well, just double click on this action file here, and same with this one here, double click on those. Now to check out the actions, if you got this play button already loaded up in Photoshop, then that's all you need to do is you just click on this arrow here. If not, then you just go to Window and then to Actions, and that'll load up the Actions file. So we got two folders now, Sweater Effect and Sweater Effect Pixel Art. We're going to do Pixel Art last. We're going to start with Sweater Effect, and we're going to start with taking a black graphic on a white background. I find that this is the best kind of starting point for a design. I've already got this one all loaded up. This document is 2,000 pixels wide, just to give you an idea for the scale. And I got some text already prepared using my font Mystic, which I've included for free, so check it out, let me know what you think. It's got lots of like alternative ligatures and everything like that to play around with and really dial in the style that you're going for. So once you're happy with your black graphic on a white background, then just hit play. So we're going to get to this dialog here, and this seems a little confusing at first, but after you do it once, it really won't be much of a problem. So horizontal scale is set to 0, vertical scale set to 10, displacement map, tile, undefined areas, wraparound, and then you're going to open this file here. So each time you run the action, you're going to have to go through this step, but the only values that you really have to remember are the vertical scale value and then which displacement map you're going to use, which always corresponds to what size pixel of the action that you're running at, 20, 30, or 60. So we're going to hit continue. And so horizontal scale again, in this case it's set to 0, well, always set to 0 actually. Vertical scale in this case is 10. And it's always going to be set to tile, and it's always going to be set to wraparound. And after you run the displacement action once, this should just kind of default, so you're never going to really have to change these three values, just the vertical scale. So I'm going to hit OK. And then in the folder that you unzipped, you're going to have a transform folder. And because we're running the 20 pixel version, we're going to select displace 20. So now we have the working effect. You can see a little before and after. You can see some of the texture in here. So in the layers on this new file, we got three layers. We got the artwork layer, which has a bevel emboss effect that I put in there that just gives it a little bit of a 3D sort of pop on your artwork. You can disable that, or you can tweak the values if you so choose by double clicking on this. And we also got color overlay, and we can use this to change the color of our artwork to whatever you want. I'm going to stick to white for now. And the background, we got the same sort of thing, color overlay effect. I set it to red just because it's nice and Christmassy, but you can use whatever you want. And the third layer, I guess, is the background knit effect. So with this, if you up the values, you'll just notice that you get more contrast in that whole effect, which from afar, it can just kind of accentuate this the sweater effect a little bit. So those are the three layers that you have to work with. Now the difference between 20 pixels, 30 pixels, 60 pixels is how much it's going to pixelize your artwork. Like each one of these little knits is in this case 20 pixels, but if we run 30 pixels, then they'll be larger. And since they're larger, your file will be more pixelated, for lack of a better term, so there'll be less detail, but you'll be able to see the nit effect more with the larger values. So show you an example here. We're going to run it with 30 this time. These are all the same values as before, but we're going to open displace 30 this time. All the same. So you can see here that we lost a little bit of legibility in the text. Oh, a decent amount of legibility. So continuing forward, I'm going to use the 20 pixel version. I find that this works in most cases. The one time where I'd use the 60 pixel version is if I'm doing something where I need a high-res output. It would work great for t-shirt graphics, for example, where you need to be doing screens at 300 dpi, so you need each one of those knitted bits to be fairly large and fairly detailed to transfer over. And if I was running the 60 pixel effect, my base graphic, I'd probably just make it larger, like let's make it 3 times the size. Now you might kind of wonder why don't I just do it just high res and then keep just not even have the lower res ones, because everyone can scale down. And the reason is just computer performance, really. I find the 20 pixel version works for most people, so might as well just make it quicker. So we got the 60 pixel version loaded up. I'm going to hit play. So this time we're using 14 for the vertical scale. And just to make that clear, what I did before, scaling up the artwork was just so that while the pixels are larger, how much it pixelates the graphic is going to be 60 by 60 pixels. Since my document is larger, it's not going to have that same sort of pixelization effect where I'm not going to be able to see the detail in my graphic as much anymore. As a result, you'll see that my file size is quite a bit bigger. So now I got a 6,000 width file size as opposed to 2,000, and the detail is, I guess technically it should be pretty much identical, or pretty comparable anyways. So yeah, it'll be a little bit harder on the computer performance, or just a little bit more sluggish if you're going to use it at 60 pixels, but it's there if you need to use it. Alright, so next up, using this base graphic, I'm going to add in some little extra elements in there. So in the elements folder, we got a few different versions. Since I'm using the 20 pixel version as my base file, I'm going to use those for the elements so that all the sizing just is consistent. So in here, in these files, we got a bunch of different options to kind of work with for things that we can work into our graphic. Got the whole alphabet in 2 slightly different sizes, as well as a bunch of extra elements here. And this one, we got a lot of patterns to choose from. So we can just drag and drop these, which is really handy. So going back to our base file here, so if I want to work, say, this one into the design, I should clarify too. To quick select, click on this auto select, turn that on, and that'll just make choosing the file a lot easier, so you don't have to dig through the layers to see which one that we're using. So drag and drop that into there. Let's do a couple more. Sometimes you got to click it a few times just because it'll select the background as opposed to the element, just because there are the tiny gaps in between the element. Yeah, now we got some of them loaded in. I'm going to turn off auto select. I prefer to only use it in those cases. And then we can kind of rearrange things a little bit. And with these as well, like color overlay, all those options are still built into it. So if you want to go multicolor with it, you totally can. Kind of looks nice. I don't know. All right, now show you some more of these actions here. So say we got this as a base file. Happy New Year. We're going to work in some extra text here. Using a different font for this, Mecha Bold. It's not one of my fonts, but you can find it online easily enough. It's a free font. So say you're just working in placeholders, some extra text like this, and you decide that you want it to have that same sort of Christmas effect. So load up our actions, and we got another one here, which is single color on transparent background. So this being a text file, it's its own layer, transparent background. So we're good to go. I'm going to hit play. Plug in the settings, vertical scale 10, displace 20. And we could probably fine tune that a little bit so that it renders better, but I mean, you get the general idea. So we can work that in there. All right, now I'm going to show you an example of how we can use this with a graphic. So I got this candy cane graphic and on a transparent background. The reason why this one has to be on a transparent background is I designed this to work with logos or anything that you throw at it, but if it was on a white background, then it would look at all the white areas of your graphic and convert all those areas to white when you play it through. It'll make more sense in a minute. So for this one, we're going to use multicolor on transparent background. Why is that not currently available? So just what happened there, where it said select was not available, you can just hit continue through that because the way I have it designed, I guess, is so it'll select everything, copy it, paste it into a new document, and then go back to the original document and undo some of those steps. But since it was a new document, there was no steps to undo, so it was trying to undo something, but there was nothing to undo. So here, on this next step, zoom in to see your graphic better, and then set the number to a low value. So basically, we're trying to just minimize the colors here as much as possible, because if you're using something that has all these smooth gradients and everything like that, it's not really going to look like it's knitted into a sweater, unless that's the effect that you're going for. But I mean, who has 256 colors of yarn at their disposal if you're actually knitting a Christmas sweater? So it's good to just minimize these values as much as possible while maintaining a nice look to it. So we're going to go with this. And then I put in an extra step here so you have a chance to make some sort of manual adjustments if you see fit. So like I notice at the top here, the border isn't 100% consistent. So I'm going to stretch that out a little bit on either side. And this is all just pixel art, so it's nice and easy to select all these squares. So yeah, this is just an opportunity to kind of clean up the design a little bit if you see fit. Because computers aren't perfect. They can only, assume so many things. So this looks pretty good now, so we're going to hit play again, which is just going to continue the action. Plug in the settings here, 10 displace 20. It's already set. Now we got a nice looking candy cane. So let's drag this into our document here. So it's not perfect, but you can always tweak the sizing of everything a little bit, like as you go, redo the effect. Maybe in this case, make the candy cane a little bit smaller, or maybe redo the text or something like that, or maybe just increase the canvas size of your document. Okay, now we're going to get into the pixel art. So we already went through the 3 different versions of the main sweater effect file. Pixel art is for just that, pixel art, for anyone who designs artwork at like 1 by 1 pixels. You do not want to run these effects on a full-size image because it's going to take every 1 by 1, every single pixel, and increase it to 20 pixels by 20 pixels or 60 by 60. So with a full-size file like that, your computer's going to try and do that a million times, and it's going to have a bad time. So you only want to run this on small pixelized artwork. I'm going to bring in an example here. So I'm zoomed in a ton so that you can see the detail here. Like the first action that we ran, this is an example where you just have a graphic where it's just black on white. Vertical scale to 8 this time, displace to 20. And we got that nice looking snowflake that we can drag into our document if we want to. And we got a color version as well. So I got this little happy face guy. So this is like the second action that we had run. This is for an example of, or I guess a third action that we ran. This is a color graphic on a transparent background. Vertical scale, like the last one, set to 8. And we got that happy face now. I guess you might be wondering why I have a pixel art version, and the reason is just as a designer, it can be nice to just have 100% control over the artwork and really fine-tune all the details. It works really good for designing custom patterns and elements and that kind of thing. Yeah, I thought I'd throw that in there. I thought it would be nice to work with. All right, so I'd say that that's basically all there is to the effect, and then yeah, to get a nice design going, just work in some more of the elements, work in some more of your artwork, and have fun with it. One thing that I kind of like doing is for text, duplicating it and then just moving it over a little bit. and then changing the color on it, and it gives a nice shadow effect. Now when you're moving all the stuff in your document, one final step that is good to do is just align it with the background. So you can kind of see that I have this out of line right now, but it's quick to do. And then if you want to say like change up the background colors in certain elements, then usually what I do is just in a new layer, just select whatever color, fill it in. It looks pretty good. Normally I'd have like a black border across above and below so that you hide that a little bit. But you can also just select a block of blue like that and then just run one of the actions, and then you're going to get that proper jagged look that you're going for. Yeah, that's all there is to it for this action. I hope that it works great for you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. I'm sure that I can sort it out. If you're running into any problems, yeah, I'll work it through with you. I should note as well as that free font that I mentioned at the beginning, I'm also including the original Christmas sweater effect, which was the first one of its kind that I made a couple years ago. That's included absolutely free. And I made a Christmas cross stitch effect as well, I think last year, which is also included for free in the bundle. I don't have video tutorials for that, but I have pretty good PDF instructions to go along with them. And yeah, easy to use. So you got on top of this, you got 2 extra options to get Christmas sweater or cross stitch effect going for whatever Christmas graphics that you need. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the product. Please, by all means, check out my shop, and hopefully you like some of the other products I have to offer. But yeah, enjoy. Have a great day.